Students, in today's class, I would talk about human resource strategies. What do we mean by human resource strategies? Basically, for example, if an organization wants its employees to perform, then they formulate a strategy. For example, if they want their employees to stay committed to the organization till the end of their service, for example till 60 years or 58 years, whatever the age is there. So if they want the employees to stay committed, then what do you think is the best method to make them work? I mean, what do you think is a strategy that will best work for these people to make an employee stick to an organization till 60 years or 58 years? The best way to do is formulate a policy and say that anybody who works from 30 years of age till 30 or whatever age of joining till 60 years till the last retirement stage will get a pension of so and so amount every month. Then all the employees who are interested in staying with the organization will stay committed till for the entire service. This is just an example. Similarly, there are many strategies to make the employees work. For example, if you find an employee, if you want the employees to be healthy, then we have to see to it that their medical checkup is done and their insurance is done. So these things will make the employees stick to the organization and it will make the employees work. And at the same time, if the employees are healthy, then the productivity of the organization will also improve. For example, if an organization is into production of, say, softwares, if it is a software development company, so if a health checkup is done yearly and if it is monitored and if it is true and on a regular basis, if the health conditions of the employees are monitored on a regular basis, then the employees would feel that okay, our health is also being taken care of, and then we'll have this for example, if they have this insurance, so as a part of their HR, I mean as part of their salary, if the HR declares that you'll be getting an insurance coverage of, say, health insurance coverage of, say, 5 lakhs or 7 lakhs per year, then, and at the same time if it says that your family is also covered under that insurance, then that makes the employee more comfortable to work with an organization. So these are few strategies. There are lots and lots and lots of strategies available in the market to make the employees work. So what exactly is basically what do we mean by HR strategies? HR strategies are what the organization intends to do about its human resource management, about its human resource management policies, practices, and how they should be integrated with the business strategy. For example, if the business strategy is to produce more goods, okay, let me take an example of, say, any company that produces motorbikes. Okay, if they want to produce more motorbikes, then they'll have to hire more employees, and at the same time they'll have to make the employees who are working presently, I mean if they are working for 8 hours, if they can work for 10 hours or 12 hours continuously, then the productivity will increase. That is the business strategy. The business strategy is to improve the productivity, and the HR strategy is to integrate that business strategy with the human resource policies and practices. So what do we mean by policies and practices? As I've given an example of, say, declaring insurance, declaring pension after retirement, and all these things are policies and practices, HR policies and practices. And the business strategy is to improve the productivity or improve the quality of the goods. So this is about the human resource strategy. The purpose of human resource strategy is to articulate what an organization intends to do about its human resource management. Okay, HR strategies may set out intentions and provide a sense of purpose and direction, but they are not just long-term plans. This research was done by Gretton in year 2000. He says that there is no great strategy, only great strategy is execution of human resource strategies. So execution of human resource strategies plays a very important role in any of the organization. Okay. For example, if we declare a policy and then we have to stick to that policy, we just can't declare a policy and say that now that we have declared a policy, now that we are buying insurance, we'll buy it at some day. It should not be like that. We have to stick to the words. Okay, now coming to the different type of strategy. One is general HR strategies and the other one is specific HR strategies. When it comes to general HR strategies, it is further bifurcated into high performance management, high commitment management, high involvement management. Okay. So do you think all the organizations follow the same strategy, the same HR strategy? No. All the HR strategies are different. Organizations, depending upon their need, will follow a particular HR strategy. Armstrong and Long in year 1994 had said that there is no such thing as standard strategy. Because he said so because, for example, if there is one organization which wants its employees to perform and the other organization wants its employees to, say, work for less hours, but whatever time they have to stick, they have to concentrate on the work. So depending on the business strategy, the HR strategy is also formulated. Okay. Now, some strategies are very simple, like general strategies, for instance. For others, have to go much in detail. So basically, they are, as I've already told, general strategies such as high performance working, and then we have this specific strategies. So let me explain the general HR strategies first, and then I'll go to specific HR strategies. So by general HR strategies, in this category we have three strategies, that is high performance management, high commitment management, and then we have high involvement management. What do we mean by high performance management? High performance management or high performance working aims to make an impact on the performance of an organization in such areas as productivity, quality, level of customer service, growth and profit. High performance management practices include rigorous recruitment, selection procedures, extensive and relevant training and management development activities. So what happens is, in order to perform better in the market, the management concentrates on hiring quality resources, because if they have quality resources, then the productivity will improve and the quality of the good that is being manufactured also improves. And then we have this higher level of customer service. We'll have because of these three things, that is quality, productivity, quality and customer service, it naturally leads to growth in profits of the company. So these three, this is just a basic example of high performance management. So high performance management organizations practices, so what do? They hire good resources and then they train them, okay, and then they manage the incentives and pay systems perfectly, and then this all these things put together improves the performance of the employees. That in turn improves with more production and and better quality of the goods and services delivered by the organization. Okay, so now let me talk about again high performance work organization practices that is like consists of work practices that invest in the skills and abilities of the employees. They also invest in the design work and the other enable employees to collaboration with the problem solving and provide incentives to motivate workers to use their efforts. If they are given more incentives, they will work more effectively. They'll put more efforts. This term is more frequently used than either high commitment management or high involvement management. Okay, so the high performance management, as I've already told, is to make the to manage the to manage the performance by motivating the employees by using and by what we can say improving their by improving the regular by by practicing good recruitment practices and selection procedures, because if in order to hire good employees, then they have to do a good recruitment procedure. What do we mean by recruitment procedures? For example, if we take 10 to 5 tests of the employee before he joins the organization, that is a rigorous recruitment procedure. If we just hire an employee, then the employee comes and becomes a burden on the organization. So in order to improve the productivity, the first level is to hire a quality resource. Then that quality resource will naturally improve the productivity, and naturally the productivity and quality of the goods and services that is being delivered by the organization. So this is about high performance management. Now let me go to high commitment management. What do we mean by high commitment management? For example, one of the it is one of the defining characteristics of HRM. This is used to emphasize on importance of enhancing mutual commitment. High commitment management has been described by Woods in year 1996. He said high commitment management is a form of management which is aimed at improving, eliciting a commitment so that the behavior is primarily self-regulated rather than controlled by the sanctions and pressures of the external individual. Let me repeat. Woods in 1996 said that a form of management which is aimed at eliciting a commitment so that the behavior is primarily self-regulated rather than controlled by sanctions and pressures external to the individual, and relations within the organizations are based on high level of trust. What do we mean by high level of trust? For example, say when the work is being divided, the employee feels that it is being divided equally among all the employees. So what happens is, when these things, for example, if the work is being assigned properly, and uh, if the profit sharing is being done, and the policy of if we have a policy of no compulsory layoff, or if say if an employee is redundant, so if the company has a policy which says that we do not lay off the employees who are redundant as of now, and they can make them sit on the bench for like What do we mean? What do I mean by making sit on the bench? They can sit idle without a project, without work for some time, maybe like 4 to 5 months. This I'm talking from the modern IT industry perspective, because there are companies which say that the moment the project is gone, the employee is fired. But there are many organizations which have a very good HR policy which says that if an employee has say worked for 5 to 6 years, and if he has worked very well, and then they don't let the employee go the moment the project is gone. They say that no, let us keep this employee on bench. Bench is a term that is used to make an employee sit idle for the bench is a term that they make the employees to sit idle for like 4 or 5 months by the time the next project comes. So with this, the employees stays committed to the organization. That improves the commitment of the commitment of the organization, commitment of the employee towards organization. And if they remove the hierarchies, for example, if they have say associate analyst, then we have team lead, then associate team lead, then we have this assistant manager, deputy manager, manager. If there is a high level of hierarchy, then the employees they don't feel comfortable working with such organizations. They try to avoid working with such organizations, because the commitment that reduces the commitment. Because if there's such a big hierarchy, then they feel that by the time by the time I climb up the entire ladder, then it will be, then I'll not be having much scope in my life to become a leader. So that reduces the commitment of the employees. They start leaving the organization, and in order to make them more committed to the organization, there should be high level of functional flexibility. For example, flexibility in the organization. For example, if he's working for one department, the HR policies design should be so flexible that the person who is working with one organization as of now can work with the same as work with other department also. It should not be like, drastically just one day he goes and sits in another department. No, but there should be some flexibility to switch between departments, to switch between shifts. All these things improve the commitment of the employee towards the organization, and this leads to high commitment management. The other thing is high involvement management. What do we mean by high involvement management? Benson, in the year 2006, he has defined high involvement management as: high involvement workplace practices are a specific set of human resource practices that focus on employees' decision making, power, access to information, training, and incentives. So by this, what do we mean? If an employee is, if we want to improve the productivity of the company, if we want to improve the quality, and if we want to improve the quality and of the goods and services that are being delivered by the organization. For example, if we want, if we want a company to perform better in terms of productivity. For example, if the company says that they are into development of software, so in order to develop more softwares in a duration, we'll have to hire quality resources. So for that, what are we doing? The first level, that is high performance management. In that, we are hiring people, hiring quality people. That indirectly leads to good product, and that improves the financial, that improves the company grow financially, and then improve that helps the employees as well. The next level is high commitment, in which the employees are made to work committed to the organization. The third is by involving the employees in decision making and by involving the employees in access to information, because sometimes what happens is if the employees are deprived of information, they tend to leave the organization. So if they leave the organization, then all of a sudden, then the productivity and the quality and the financial performance of the company, all these things come down. So in order to make them perform better, in order to get them, in order to in order to produce high quality goods and in order to produce goods in large quantities in a given specific time, then we will have to involve the employees in decision making. We just can't say that you stay away, you just come to work and go. We have to make them involved in decisions like, so like uh, whenever an HR policy is also, there will change in HR policy, we have to take a survey from all the employees, and this way they feel that their voice is being heard, and if they feel that their voice is being heard, then they get involved more and more with the work. That leads to a better quality of product that is being delivered by the organization, and also that leads to more productivity. If an employee is, the first thing, if the employee is very well, let me recap it. If the employee is recruited through a rigorous recruitment procedure, and if he is trained, then he perform. The second thing is, if he is committed, then he will perform. And then the third thing is, if the employee is involved in decision making, then he will perform. All these HR strategies put together improve the productivity of the goods that are being manufactured by the organization. That not only leads to high productivity, it also leads to better quality of goods. Okay, now let me go to specific HR policies, HR strategies. Okay, what do we mean by human capital management? What, let me just say, let me just start with how, what is what do we mean by specific HR strategies? By specific HR strategies, we mean that, for example, in these areas, if we want to improve the employees, then by improving the employees in these areas, then the in these functions, then the organization's productivity also improves. What do these are the few specific HR strategies. For example, human capital management. For example, what do we mean by human capital management? Human capital management is obtaining, analyzing, and reporting on the data that inform the direction of value adding people. I mean, it is basically investing on human capital. For if the, or if what does Narayan Murthy says? He says that my employees are my assets. They leave every day and they come the very next day. So what do we mean by that? By this we mean to say that human capital has got a lot of value. So the employees which so the organizations which are involved in production of goods, or if they are involved in delivering services to of goods, or I mean any kind of service, then they see to it that the human capital management is done properly. By human capital management, they make sure that all the employees are paid very well and they are paid on time, and there is a clarity of what is being paid, and there is a transparency, because It should not be like they were told one thing and at the end of the day they were paid something else. No, this is one of the best strategies to make the employees, to stick to the organization. The second thing which I would talk about is corporate social responsibility. By this, we mean to say that the commitment of managing a business ethically in order to make the positive impact on society and environment. So, what do I mean by this? If the employees, if we are basically, if the organization is making a positive impact on the society and environment, then that, how do they make the positive impact on society and environment? For example, they run a say traffic awareness drive. They run for example, we have Deloitte. Okay, what does Deloitte do as a part of corporate social responsibility? It makes its employees involved in doing social service to the mankind. So the people who employees who are who find peace, who find happiness in delivering something good to the society, they feel empowered, because if they are involved in delivering the corporate, involved in being a part of corporate social responsibility, that helps the employees to feel empowered by, and they feel people who are like who want to do some social service, those people, they feel empowered, because these days each and every employee, each and every human being feels like working for the for any cause, for any social cause. So that not only improves the organization's image in the market, but it also improves the commitment of the employee towards the organization. Okay, how does it improve the image of the organization? For example, Deloitte is known all throughout the world that they have an impact day. They call impact day once in a year. What do? They have so many good. They go to orphanages. They go to different old age homes, prisons. All these places they go, and then they serve the people. What do they get by doing this? They do not get anything, but yes, people trust the brand Deloitte. It is among the big four companies. So how do they go? That in turn improves the, when people start trusting the organization, then they start investing in the organization, and the employees who are working there also feel committed, and they also start performing. So corporate social responsibility is one of the specific HR strategies that is used by the HR department of organizations in order to make the employees work, and in order to make the employees work, so that the productivity and the quality of the goods and services being delivered by the organization is done. Then the third point over here is employee well-being. What do we mean by employee well-being? The HR department sees to it that the employees are being treated well, because if they are not treated well, then the employees start leaving the organization, and the iteration increases. Because iteration increases, then the productivity falls, the quality falls, and financially the company will fall. So it is one of the HR strategies that the HR department formulates in order to make the employees work. And then we have learning and development. Human resources basically love to work with organizations which help them in learning, rather than being monotonous, just come work and go. If they are made to learn, or if they are given support to learn something, then they stick to such organizations. So human resources, so what the HR department does is they involve high level of learning and development activities that in turn helps the employees to stay committed to the organization. And then we have resourcing. What do we mean by resourcing? By resourcing, I mean to say, I mean, by resourcing, what do you mean? This is try to attract the talent from outside. If the employees are being treated well, if they are being paid well on time, then the the current employees refer their friends to the organization. That way the organization gets good resources. So resourcing is also one of the specific HR strategies. Then we have talent management. Talent management is if a person is good in say one key area, and in order to improve, in order to say use that person as in that particular area, we have to make sure that his talent is being used properly. For example, say a person is good um, in painting, and he is not good in cutting of some rod or some in manufacturing, say automobiles, we'll have to cut, we'll have to paint, all these procedures are involved. So if the people, if somebody is highly talented in painting, then he should be kept in painting department. He should not be kept in the cutting department or in the other raw material departments. So based on the talent of the person should be placed in that department. That if the person's talent is being used properly, then he feels happy and to work with the organization. That improves the commitment, that improves the productivity, and then improves the financial. Financially, the company grows. Engagement is it deals with development and executing policies for increasing the engagement of employees. For example, if time to time surveys are conducted, if they time to time their employees are kept engaged with decision making, they are engaged with the work, they are not allowed to uh, sit idle, then they work then that improves the commitment of the employees. Then the last thing is knowledge management. Everybody wants knowledge these days. So what do they do? The HR formulates a strategy and makes the and trains the employees. For example, if we have say 100 resources in cutting department, if we have 100 resources in painting department, and if we have 100 resources in say raw material department, but if we have a project wherein they have to cut, and at the same time we need more painters, so what do? They provide knowledge to the employees, they train, they upgrade the skills of the employees who are into cutting, they train them into painting, and then they use those employees. So knowledge management, by this is the example which I gave is a very crude example, but in IT industry, say if a person knows one particular language, then he is trained in some other language, that improves the knowledge of the employee, and the next time a project comes to develop some software using that other language, then the employee is hired directly. I mean, the employee is used in that particular project. So all these are specific HR strategies in order to make the employees work. And as I've already told, why do we formulate strategies? We formulate strategies because if the HR strategies are formulated properly, then that will improve the business strategy. That will have a great impact on business strategy. What is business strategy? By business strategy, we mean to say that people will start producing more and they'll give their 100% quality. That will improve the market share of the goods and services being delivered by the organization, and that will help the organization grow financially. So this is a win-win situation for both the employees as well as for the organization. So this is all I would say about human resource strategies. With this, I come to the end of this lecture. Thank you.